the things about your vocal style is so strong. Yeah, when Mariana and I were listening to your CD, I mean, it was like your voice was just jumping right out of the, the player. And it's a very kind of a strong style. Can you talk a little bit about your background of how you got to singing?
Well, I used to sing a lot of doo-wop. And if you know anything about doo-wop, I mean, growing up in New York City in the 50s, early 60s, that was what you did. I mean, if you were really musically inclined, we didn't have Beatles yet, so the guitar was somewhat still of a folk instrument. But I was more involved. I liked pop music, and I was wrapped by doo-wop. I really, 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 I was captured. And once I was able to harmonize with a bunch of guys, it's almost like in The Music Man, when the Buffalo Bills do that thing and he comes and makes them sing together. He said they're friends for life. Well, I have had a love affair with doo-wop ever since then. And when you do sing doo-wop, you have to project. And that's how it all started. And then when I started playing music, I was playing in Central Park, I was busking, and you know what a New York Minute is like. I mean, it's you either got them or you don't. So singing hard was really important, and it really helped me to really become a better singer because of the projection factor. It just started happening. So yes, I do have a pretty good set of pipes, but I like singing. It makes me feel good, and I like singing with energy and joy.
So what was like the first song that you heard that really kind of lit you up?
The first song that I heard, well, it wasn't doo-wop, but it was Elvis Presley, and it was Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel, both of those. And there's a wonderful story that my family tells that when I was 9 years old, I was in Italy, and I drew a crowd by singing all of Elvis's songs a cappella on a porch. And my mother, they were watching people come, and I was just, so yeah, I'd say that was really, Elvis was very moving. But then after that, believe it or not, I really, I was only 9 then. So when I was 12, it became much more of the groups themselves. And then and I liked songs like Trickle Trickle. And then I really got into the Cleftones and all the names of groups that were very, very popular at the time. And the Elegants, who sang Little Star and were from my hometown. And Dion and the Belmonts. It became, and then I got into the black doo-wop because they had to deal with another issue altogether. But there was a guy named Jocko on the radio, WADO, I'll still never forget it. I used to hide it on my transistor radio underneath my pillow. So, my father wouldn't yell at me. But I listened to a lot of that, and I really got into the Eldorados, and I got Nolan Strong and the Diablos.
Well, can you give us a little example of some doo-wop singing and how you would go about?
Sure. Do you want me to play? Can I do a cover tune?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I mean, everybody knows this song, but here's one that I always play. Each time we have a quarrel, it almost breaks my heart, 'cause I am so afraid that we will have to part. Each night I ask the stars up above, why must I be a teenager in love? So that was, and I play that even now to this day, and in Little Anthony and the Imperials, and it goes on and on. The Flamingos, our love must be a kind of blind love. I mean, it moves me. It really does. It moves me.
Yeah, well, you can feel that. You can feel that energy.
Oh, it's just lovely.
And I think that especially being overseas and doing kind of unusual Americana music.
Absolutely. The trip I can tell you many trips, but I would busk very hard in Europe, and I had a wonderful time. It supported me. It supported me. It supported me by gaining friends. People would drop money in my guitar case because I was busking. But I got invited to play it at festivals because people liked it. So it gave me a chance to share my own personal writing with people at a festival. Oh no, by all means, American music, or Americana music, if you would, by all means. And when it's sung, with passion, it's not about notes for me. It's really about feeling. And I explain that to the young artists. The notes are nice. But what are you feeling when you play that song? Why do you want to sing that song? Because everybody else does? I don't play what everybody else plays. I play stuff that is so far off the charts for them. But I play them because I love these songs, and that's why they come across to me, to the crowd, and to myself when I'm singing them. I am wrapped in that tune, and that's one of the messages that I hope that it gets across to them, because it's not about the notes, it's about the feeling. Music is a passionate type of expression. You know, the notes are important. Don't get me wrong.
Sure,
of course they
sure.
are. But that is ancillary as far as I'm concerned. If you have a passion, you'll make the notes work. That's what blues is. Blues is totally making the notes work for you rather than you work for the notes.
So how did you kind of shift over into finding that your real kind of career would be in teaching?
Okay. I thought you were going to ask me about music, because I was going to tell you how that worked for me. Was that eventually doo-wop died, so I was going to have to do something, because it's pretty silly standing on the corner singing without an instrument. You could get taken away for that, and I didn't want that to happen. But teaching, I was an excellent athlete as a young man, and my dad, who's still alive, is in his 90s, and still with us, and literally with us, was an excellent teacher, and he did a marvelous job with a lot of troubled young men who I knew, who had troubles, and I was a really good athlete, and watched my father, how he handled that. And that left me with an impression. And then being able to speak languages made me a special sort of kind of guy to kids who struggled with languages. So I helped a lot of young people, my own age, at the time they weren't really young people, my own age, get through some language courses. And in college the same. So it started to feel very comfortable. And then I put down athletics. I wasn't that interested in them any longer. There was much more in store for me. I saw it as a wonderful vehicle, but I wasn't moved to want to follow it. Where I was definitely moved to teaching. I enjoyed that expression. And it's just now carried over into 45 years I've been doing this.
But the music has also come back pretty strong right now.
Yes, it has. And what's nice is that, you know, I think I joked with you when I was at your house that I feel like Hal from 2001. You know, people just want to ask me questions about the '60s. What were they really like? And I just look at it, I shake my head, because experience it. Experience the 2000s, so that way you'll have something to talk about. You know, it's nice to have history on your side. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind sharing the information. But I want kids to experience things, and they have a tendency to want to know facts rather than feelings. And that's scary to me, because I want them to think, what does it feel like to you? I never give answers in my class. And that's a style that I developed as a result of mentors who saw my abilities and said, hey, Robert, and they counseled me. Said, why don't you try this as a methodology? Why don't you start asking more questions? And this is going back some time, Rick. This is what I talked about yesterday. And I developed this now much more of a query type of learning, both in the graduate and undergraduate level, because I want you to think. Facts we can find.